Boom. There we go. It's a thing.
Hello.
Oh, I'm on the edges. You're on the edges.
We're both on the edges. We need to get a lot
move
closer,
in.
Matt. All right, there we go.
Get cozy.
Hello, everyone.
Hey!
This is episode 39 of Rhymes with Klei, I believe.
39.
39.
Wow.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Peter Andrews. I'm a programmer here at Klei Entertainment. And with me on my left...
Yes.
Yes, I had to think about it. Like, wait, it's right on the screen, but it's left of me. Oh, I'm already backwards. This is going great.
Off to a good start.
We've got Matt.
I'm Matthew Martinson. I do all the sounds here at Klei.
All the sounds.
I'm one of the handful of people that works on every single game that we do.
That is super awesome.
I think there's me and Jeff and Wade. I think that's it.
Jamie probably has touched most games. A little bit.
Yeah.
He's had his hands in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about audio because we've got Matt on the stream with us. So we've got a whole lot of audio specific talk ready, all lined up.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Like my background's in visual effects, and so my interaction with audio throughout my career has been about this much. I was doing all rendering initially, and then I did visual effects, and occasionally visual effects would have to interact with audio for timing. Is like, when does this explosion sound happen, and different things like that for tagging purposes. Exactly. Yeah, as Columbia says, the real life gobbler.
Yes.
I'm sure that'll make an appearance at some point in the stream.
Maybe.
And yes, as people have noticed, it's a glorious beard fest today. It's a shame my beard is not as long as it used to be. Mm-hmm. When we were in Boston for PAX East, my beard was like at its peak.
Peak beard.
It was at peak beard. I couldn't handle it. It would take like an hour to dry after I got out of the shower. So I was like, all right, this is too much. So what's this?
Cool. We got all kinds of questions happening already.
Yeah, questions flying out all over the chat. We'll try to get through some of those questions as well.
Yep.
I have my own questions for Matt because I've been working here at Klei for about 7 months now, maybe 8 months. Yeah. I don't really know much about Matt's kind of history other than he does audio.
I just sit there with headphones and
yeah, exactly. He seems so antisocial just listening to music all day, but apparently he's working and making awesome audio for all of our games. So I've got my own list of questions. I'm sure chat will kind of pipe in at some point with their own questions. Shall we get started on that?
Ask away.
Yeah. So I know you've been with Klei a long time because I actually met you like 4 years ago at PAX when I was just a fan and friends of some of the other developers like Kevin and Julian.
Yep.
And so we had talked way back then, but beyond that, like how did you get into game development?
I got into games, I think it's 12 years ago now.
Okay.
That I've been doing game audio. I started out doing music, doing a recording engineer, and having a career based on a whole bunch of people who don't have very much money, i.e. musicians. It's kind of hard. Yeah,
they're generally artists in general have a tough time until they make it.
So I took a job being working QA at Electronic Arts for us. Cool. That I thought was just going to be a summer thing of like, hey, I'm just going to do this for like a couple months and then go back to recording stuff. And when I was there, I found somebody I had gone to school with for recording engineering was doing sound for games. And I thought, hey, that's pretty neat. And
I like games.
Yeah, I like games. I like sound. This could be cool. They have more money than musicians.
Yep.
So from there, he got me in touch with kind of like the right people at the right time as my QA contract was coming up. An audio team needed a person. And NHL 2004 was the first game I did audio on.
So you got started on sports as well.
Yeah.
My first game as well, outside of kind of internships that I did during school, was a baseball title with Blue Castle Games.
Cool.
And that's actually where I'd met a bunch of the early Don't Starve guys. Cool.
So from there, I bounced around at EA for a while, did a whole bunch of PSP games, did a bunch of Need for Speed stuff, did a kind of big grab bag of stuff, and then went freelance, and then landed at Klei.
Cool.
So
with audio, I guess bouncing around to all the different projects is interesting because Jan is telling us to turn down the music a little bit. All right, let's just hop into the options here and turn that down. Maybe that's better. All right. It can't go any lower. I was gonna say, like, in visual effects is one of the other areas, at least in certain studios, that you end up working on all the projects as well.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that's sort of a polish on top of the game that comes in at the last minute, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, like when I was at Capcom and Blue Castle, I worked on every single project because they'd be like, "Hey, we need effects, and you've got 2 months to ship the game," and it's like, "All right, let's get this out the door." So in that regard, audio and visual effects sort of always had, at least at the studios I worked in, always had a very similar sort of work style, and like when they'd all be working really hard would be around the same time.
Yeah, well, you do a lot of planning with audio in the beginning, but there's a whole lot of stuff you just can't do until there's certain things exist.
Yeah, like you sort of need the gameplay to be hooked up so you can hook up, or the gameplay to be sort of at a stable state before you can actually hook up the audio, because if you...
Yeah, and a lot of times the gameplay and mechanics will define what you're going to do with sound. You might have a big plan, and then certain gameplay elements, and you go in, and once they're in the game, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Right, exactly.
I need a bunch more sounds for a bunch of that stuff. There's a bunch of feedback that needs to happen. So, you know, it's a very, we throw everything in at the end.
Yeah, especially with like design ever changing, you kind of want, you don't really want to be having to redo work that you just did.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the design is settled now, and now we can actually focus on what audio treatment and what sort of treatment goes on top of the design as it's set.
So yeah, it's a lot of reactionary stuff.
Makes it difficult for planning, for sure.
Yes.
Because
it's a lot of like, you make a plan, and then something happens, and you're like, well, okay, I got to change that plan.
Yep.
That plan's not a plan anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I experienced as well with visual effects in the past. Kind of going from there, like, I'm sure that other people are going to have this question as well, like, sort of where do you draw your inspiration from when you're making sound effects for games?
A lot of it comes from the art in the games.
Okay.
Like the design of the games and the backstory of the games really informs a lot of where things go. And I'm one of those people that thinks way too deeply about minute things that only me and other audio guys could probably tell, but it adds to the whole picture.
Yep.
Right? Like, I think a great example these days is that I've been talking about a lot with people is the Mad Max movie. Right? It's this great action-y movie, but like everybody in that movie has a backstory. It's never like talked about in a lot of ways, and it's only hinted at in some ways, but those actors knew that what their backstory was and could like evoke that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't really put your finger on it,
but it adds to that whole
flavor to everything around it.
Yeah. So I think about like when I'm doing a voiceover, we're putting in voiceover in a game. I think way too much about what mic I'm going to pick for that actor, and it's like what goes with that actor, what mic suits the game, like because of the sonic qualities of it, and I like think like on that level.
So you're not using these little these mics?
No, I might use these little mics if that was the right thing that I thought was like that's the feel of the game is a little lav mic. Like I think way too deeply into that sort of stuff. And then you look at the art, and I mean, like, Don't Starve is a great example of, like, you just see art for this when the artists make creatures, and I'm like, I can just look at it and go, I know what that sounds like. Like, that's a totally weird thing. And some weird thing pops into my head. I'm like, that's it. That's the sound of that.
Do you find, like, when I go and see movies and other sort of, like, CG things, I'm inspecting it from a technical standpoint just because I've worked with that so much?
Yeah.
Do you find when you go to movies and you're like, oh, this audio setup or mix is horrible?
It's got to kind of be pretty bad. I try to when I go to a movie.
You're trying to shut it off a
when
bit?
I'm playing a game, I try to shut that off.
Okay.
Unless I'm actively like I'm researching something.
Right.
You know,
like, how did they I really enjoyed the experience in, let's say, Battlefield 2 Bad Company.
Okay. How did they do that and start ripping it apart?
Right.
It's generally the really good stuff I don't realize until afterwards that it was really good.
Oh, because it didn't stand out?
I was just in the experience, and it was a great thing, and I was like afterwards like, oh, wait a minute, the sound was really great in that. Or if it's really bad, then I'll get pulled out.
Right. Yeah, there was a common saying that always kind of got passed around, at least in my circles of people I've worked with, was that no one notices game audio until it's bad game audio. Where it's like, like it's icing on the top, and you're having a cupcake, and it's great, but you're not really going to notice the icing necessarily unless it's super amazing or it's really bad.
Yeah.
Cool. Kind of continuing from sort of where you draw your inspiration from, though.
Yeah.
Like, what is your favorite sound effect you've worked on for a game?
Oh, there's a good question.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that one.
Those are good. I got a good story for those ones. My favorite sound, I don't know what my favorite sound. Like, there's so many good little weird things like in Don't Starve. It gets asked a lot of me, but I am really happy with the gobbler.
Yep.
Just because of how, partly because how that came about.
Okay, so is there like an awesome story behind the gobbler?
I think it's an awesome story.
Okay.
So we decided we were making this turkey man creature. We're going to make the gobbler. We're like, that's the planning. I'm like, okay. So artists are going to go draw their art, and I start going, okay, I have to wait till the artists do something to see it, but I obviously need turkey sounds.
Right.
So I start collecting turkey sounds from my sample libraries, and notice I don't have anything, so I go and search a bunch of stuff, and I find some new turkey sounds.
You don't just have those turkey sounds lying around?
Amazingly, I have thousands and thousands of sounds. I didn't have any turkey sounds. I was surprised. So I said, okay, I got to buy some turkey sounds.
That sounds like you just go to the grocery store
and
buy some turkey sounds.
So I sourced, there's some websites that sell like individual sound effects.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I found some turkey sounds, downloaded them, like, all right, I'm ready. I've got all my turkey sounds. You know, when I go over to the artist one day, I can't remember whose desk it was, but I went over and I'm like, show me the gobbler, and they're showing it to me, and he's like, they're showing me all his animations, and he's running around, and then for whatever strange reason, I just went, and I was like, that's it. That's the sound of that. So I performed all of.
Did you go and get a refund on your turkey sounds?
I've still got. I should. I still have them. So that's how it just was that like bolt of lightning inspiration of and a lot of stuff that a lot of the creatures in Don't Starve are my voice because they've got a personality.
Yeah.
And you can use samples from animals and stuff, but you can't get that personality.
You probably don't, I guess, necessarily get a sense of the timbre in a human voice.
Yep.
That would sort of carry through.
So like another good example is the bees. I found a beehive. Magically, we're putting bees into the game. Okay. I was going for a run like a couple days later and went, there's a beehive like 10 blocks from my house. Perfect. We're talking about doing bees.
Why is there a beehive? Is it like a proper beehive, or was it just like a random
it was
colony?
a community gardens.
Okay,
and they had a beehive at it. So I'm like, all right, I need to go back and record that. So went back, took my portable recorder.
Did you have like a net?
No, it was sort of scary because I took my little recorder. I've got this little recorder about this big, and I like set it to record and set its level, and then like moved very slowly up to the beehive and just
How close can I get?
Put it to on the ground, and then like step back and just like stayed there for like a couple of minutes and recorded. So I've got these awesome, like really close, great bee recordings. Okay. So that's great.
So you bring them back to the office?
So I bring those back to the office, and I get a kazoo, and I record a bunch of me playing the kazoo, emoting what I think like hurt, going like, and making all these sounds through the kazoo, and then I combine the two of them together, and then I got like kind of like real bees and some emotion for the actual action that's going to happen, because I can't go, hey, Mr. B, act hurt.
Yeah.
Can you go to sleep now?
Do bees have feelings? I don't know.
Yeah.
I assume they have some sort of nervous system to protect themselves, but yeah, like they're not going to give you the exact kind of choreographed response you want.
So a lot of it's a combination of sometimes of the voice and creatures and instruments, and you just kind of like pile those all together.
Interesting. That is something I didn't really know.
Someone was asking about the instruments for character voices. That's they're all instruments. They're virtual instruments that I played. I have this thing called an iwi, an electronic wind instrument.
Okay.
You know, like regular MIDI keyboards.
Yeah.
Or piano.
Yeah.
There's this iwi it's like a thing with keys that kind of you breathe into it like you would a saxophone.
Oh, interesting.
And I went to I have a jazz background in saxophone.
Right.
That's my original instrument. So it's a very comfortable thing for me to like.
Yeah, I played all woodwind instruments and French horn throughout school. So I'd say like.
So coming from that background, like that's what I relate to more than a piano. So I got an iwi.
You get that emotion from the pressure that you apply to
your breath
remains.
and you can squish the mouthpiece
Right.
and bend it the way you can a saxophone and everything.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
so I yet again thought way too much about all of the characters and what instrument should represent every character, like way too much time. Like in my head, this is their character is embodied
definitely
in the
needs to be on the wiki page.
instrument.
Yeah.
And I got to the point of like, okay, the all the women are flutes, except for
Wigfrid, probably.
Wigfrid, the librarian. She's an oboe.
Oh no, Wickerbottom.
Wiggerbottom.
Right.
Wiggerbottom is an oboe.
Okay.
Because she's older and like that
It's very old worldly,
raspberry, timbre fit
Yeah,
better.
okay.
So I was doing all kinds of that kind of, Wolfgang's the tuba.
Yep.
Because
Makes
he's
sense.
big, all that kind of stuff. So I used the iwi to play all the instruments.
Interesting.
So even though they were virtual instruments in the computer, I was able to get a more real feel.
Yeah, that's pretty
them.
cool. I didn't know. I actually didn't know those sort of things existed. It's like I know with pianos, there's been a ton of effort into making pianos sound not like a computer and actually sound like a real analog piece of wood and strings. So like, they introduced so much, I guess, like not necessarily noise, but fake not perfectness.
Yeah. You want the noise, and you want the like when you press softly, it sounds very different than when you press hard, and it's resonating other notes around it. So it's a very complex.
I remember the first time I got a Sound Blaster audio device when I was a kid, and it came with like one of those keyboard programs you could use your actual like typing keyboard to play, and it's like this is awful. Sure, it's playing notes, but this is just terrible.
Yeah.
I think there was another question about mole worms.
Yeah, the worms. So this was another, like, just how everything sort of comes together.
Okay.
I went to GDC a couple of years ago and ran into Ann Kober, who is a very famous sound designer. Her and her husband worked on all kinds of things, including the original Dune movie.
Oh, cool.
So I randomly, with a bunch of other sound people, met her in a bar and just had a conversation, and she told us how they recorded the original sounds for the worms in Dune.
Oh, interesting.
So I was just like, oh my god, like I knew how to do this really cool thing. We need to do it somehow. And it came back, and then about a month later, we're like, hey, we're putting worms into the game. I was like, ha!
I have the solution.
I know how to do this. So I did a very like small version of what she did, and it involved a contact mic, which is a certain kind of mic that picks up vibrations that are attached to it, attached to a ruler buried in cat litter in a box. And then I like made like motions like this through the cat litter, and the contact mic picks it up through all of the sand.
The vibration and everything?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I like did a bunch of stuff in the computer, and
then
the
produce the final result. That's really awesome. Cool. I'm sure we're gonna get more questions from chat, but we'll actually hop in game now as well. Let's actually play some Don't Starve together. For those of you that aren't aware, basically everyone who owned Don't Starve on Steam previous or prior to June 3rd has now received their free copy of Don't Starve Together. So basically, the sort of the hypothetical floodgates have been opened.
Yeah.
And so now everyone is starting to join us.
2 million?
Yeah, so I think we handed out about 2 million CD keys, roughly, something like that. So you guys are going to see way more activity on the forums, hopefully, and I've already, like, the server counts are already like 50% higher than it was the day before. So
that's going to be awesome to see everybody playing.
I'm sure by the weekend there's going to be tons of servers up. All right, let's hop into the server. Let's make sure I get in the server. We're going to be playing on Rhymes with Klei. Let's make sure I get in before I give everyone the password. All right.
We could just watch other people.
Like, oh, yeah, look at that. That's cool. You can just watch the server count go up and down. All right, so the password is Bernie Beard. So I'll type it in the chat here. Oh, that's Bernie Beard. There you guys go. I'm surprised no one guessed the password this time. Oops.
What the heck?
There we go. All right, let's actually turn on the game. There we go. All right.
Hey.
So obviously I'm going to play as well because there is... Oh no!
What did you do?
No, we're all good. We're all good.
You didn't see anything.
Nothing happened there.
Nothing happened.
No, Bernie Beard is Klei Entertainment post in chat. Jan can probably repost that if looks like some other people have already got in. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously we made some changes to Willow this week. So I've been actually playing with Willow a little bit last night. People caught on to the spoilers. People who blinked. So clumsy. All right, hopefully not everyone saw it. So bad. Apparently, keyboard commands actually work in our streaming program as well, and it changed the slide on us.
There are shortcut keys.
Yeah, shortcut keys. But yeah, so I'm going to play as Willow and show you guys some of the new kind of features of the sort of changes we put into Willow. It's almost nighttime. Bernie has no actual beard, as Over asked in chat. Yes, I don't believe Bernie actually has a beard, but I mean, it's a teddy bear, so it's fur, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a beard.
So I had to make sounds for Bernie the other day.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I saw you talking to Bryce about
so Bernie's got some sounds. I actually took a bunch of the plushies we've got around the office and bashed them up and smacked them together, and hey, there goes a gobbler.
Gobbler.
And that's what made the Bernie sound. So our actual Chester.
Yep.
Our Chester here. This Chester.
His fur's looking a little ragged today because
he got molested to make sounds.
That's okay though.
A couple of our stuffed animals got beat up a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and show you Bernie. So Bernie, let's actually just drop Bernie down on the ground here. So Bernie is Willow's teddy bear. Hopefully, no one steals it. Be good, Audubon Chesterfield. Please don't take my Bernie. But yeah, so Bernie's obviously Willow's baby or childhood teddy bear. So basically, we weren't very clear what Bernie does in the patch notes. We kind of wanted to leave it up to people to figure out. It looks like people have been experimenting with Willow and Bernie for the last kind of day or so. But yeah, basically Bernie comes to life when Willow goes insane. So once she gets below 15% of her sanity, which is about 18 sanity, Bernie basically comes to life and will then attract any sanity monster threats that are around. So basically,
he does a little dance.
It does a little dance, kind of walks around. I actually haven't seen the dance, but I haven't seen this.
Dance is funny.
Oh, hopefully I can get Willow's sanity low enough in the time here. All right, I'm just going to stand over here in the dark.
This little thing.
Get my sanity to drain down. Let's see, is the server full already? Yes, the server is full.
Server's full.
Yep. So another thing that's new to Willow is with our lighter is now a tool for cooking. So I don't need to go to the fire to cook. I can just go straight down here. So I can run around on my own in the middle of the night and actually cook all on my own. Yeah, so I don't need a fire. This is awesome. Nice. The cooking is actually pretty cool because it actually allows Willow to be used as a really awesome early games kind of scout character. Yeah. She starts with the lighter already, so she doesn't need to collect stuff for that. She can just run and run and run and scout the world out. And then if she does find food on the way, then she doesn't need to stop and make a fire pit to cook it. She gets the benefits of actually just having that food right away cooked just from her lighter, which is pretty cool. Let's see if I can go find... Oh, someone dying. Fixed it.
Need to go crazy.
Oh, and here's some bees.
Oh.
So these are the bees that you talked about? I'm gonna need some. I need to get an axe or something. I'm not gonna be able to take that many bees on with my hands. There was a question about hot lava. I don't believe we have an actual date for the release of hot lava yet.
When it's done.
When it's done, I think we're trying to get that out basically as fast as we can. But obviously, it's still a whole game that we have to make. So. Mark and a couple of other people on the team are busily working away at Hot Lava. It's going to be pretty cool. I mean, everyone's actually played that game as a kid. Pretty much everyone has, based on, by some name or other. Yeah. I was trying to catch the birds. I don't think it's possible with standard speed, but every time I'm like, I got so close. I could still catch the birds, but no. Actually, speaking of the bird audio, I was out camping a couple of weeks ago, and a bird went by, and it sounded exactly like the redbirds. Yeah.
Yeah, the birds are actual birds.
Okay, so
that's a.
So did you go out and chase birds around?
No, that was something from my sample libraries that I.
I'm gonna die. This is embarrassing. I'm worse than Mark at this game.
Oh.
Where's the helmet? Someone actually give me a helmet? Oh, they did give me a helmet. Thank you, Legitimators.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm just going to keep running anyways. I need to find some... I would actually find some spiders, because I want some monster meat. Monster meat would make me crazy.
Yeah. You got a portal.
Ooh, perfect idea.
Wormholes.
Wormhole is the best way to go crazy. Well, probably one of the best ways. So it doesn't damage you, just does sanity points, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Yeah, you can just jump back and forth.
Yeah. All right. Come on, jump in a wormhole. Jump in a wormhole, come on. It's getting crazier. Oh, we've got a jumpy partner. It's like we're all bouncing around the bouncy castle. I imagine this is like two people falling down the wormhole, colliding in the center. That can't be good. Just get stuck inside the wormhole.
There you go. You're starting to go crazy.
A little crazy. We're down to 45 sanity. All right. Let's hop out. How were the poop flies sound made? Yeah, that's a good question. Did you go to the toilet here in the office and then? No, our bathroom's actually quite clean.
No, it wasn't that authentic. I had some fly sounds from somewhere.
All right, so.
Oh yeah.
She's going crazy. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm freezing too. Oh, and so we can see here, Bernie's coming to life. Oh, I need to get, where's my, oh, I need to light something on fire. There we go, that's close.
There's Bernie's walking around back there.
Yep. So I rotate the camera, there we go. So yeah, if basically the sanity monsters show up, they will be attracted to Bernie before they'll be attracted to me. So I don't have any stuff for fire because this is going to quickly run out and I'm probably going to freeze. So that's another one of the changes that went in. Willow now basically gets I guess a coldness buff.
Oh yeah.
Once she goes insane. So things feel about 20 degrees colder.
There's dancing.
Oh, she's dancing. Nice.
Yeah.
There's the dancing. Yeah, so basically, the sanity monster there is going to be drawn to Bernie instead of me, so I'm free to stay totally insane, and while Bernie...
Just a little jig.
While Bernie has... uh-oh, I'm probably going to start freezing soon. Let's find some stuff to burn, because obviously...
Those are trees.
Well,
trees to the right.
To the right.
To the right.
Oh, there we go. Uh-oh, what's going on there? There we go. Yeah. So another thing, yeah, so basically Willow is now... I guess more cold or colder when she goes insane.
Yeah.
So there's kind of, it cuts both ways with that. In winter, if she goes insane, that's probably going to be really rough. You're going to freeze to death. But in summer, that's a super advantage to be able to just go insane, have Bernie protect you from sanity monsters. So as long as you can make enough of your Bernies, then you're going to be okay. Uh-oh.
You're in trouble. Somebody was asking...
Oh, who's this? Someone took my Bernie.
No, somebody else took your Bernie.
Leave my Bernie alone.
Somebody was asking glommer sounds. What the inspiration for glommer sound was.
Glommer is a weird one because it's kind of a weird animal. It doesn't really have a lot of real life.
No, it's a big, fat, floaty insect, and he's goopy.
Yeah, it's like.
And it was just sort of like seeing the art and like doing that, like thinking about all those things, and you just start to. I honestly don't even remember what sounds I made for him, but I know it was like talking about what he kind of is like and his art, and starting to make sounds with my mouth.
Okay.
And then that was because he was like he's sort of an insect, but he's got this like fat gloopiness to him.
Yeah, it's like because there aren't insects that are that large in real life.
And he barfs out like all the stuff onto the ground and everything.
Oh, I'm freezing, guys. Where's the stuff to burn? Oh, come on. Why can't I burn this?
Because it's burnt.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh.
Oh.
No! I am worse than Mark at this game. All right, let's go. It's okay. It's wilderness mode, so I'll be back.
Yep.
All right, back with full sanity. My Bernie's back. I got my lighter. We're good to go. So obviously I haven't practiced a lot with this new Willow mechanics. Willow is actually one of I think my second favorite character from vanilla single player. Woody, obviously by my dress and attire and facial hair, is obviously my favorite. But Willow, I don't know, the fire thing is just cool. Another thing that's actually been changed with Willow is she's now immune to fire for 3 seconds. She still retains the 50%, what's going on here? The 50% fire damage reduction.
Yep.
But she also then is immune for a little bit longer, so she can burn for a little bit and then walk away. And it's like, oh, nice. Okay, I didn't actually take damage there. Server lag is real. Oh no. Is it really? We're looking okay. People with kind of tough connections, maybe. No, that's weird. Maybe it is lagging a little bit. Maybe I just didn't understand what was happening. I'm sorry, Super PSI Power. They're having. So yeah, everyone in the chat, hop in. There's a spot going to be open in the server in a second. Oh, that's some flint.
Get quick.
Flint is good. I need to have a fire. This lighter is not going to last forever. One thing with the lighter is actually it's also a little bit cheaper to make now. Willow got a little bit more efficient. She practiced making a lighter and stopped wasting so much gold making it, so now it's only 1 gold instead of 2 gold. So that's always an added bonus. Because, I mean, 1 gold is nice and easy to find. You kind of find one item and you can just run around and find a pig king and then you're good to go. You don't necessarily need to find a big farm full of... Ooh, it's winter.
Is it ever?
That was quick. Winter trap.
You're going to be in trouble.
It's okay. I can burn stuff. I only need to survive for so long. Yeah, so I mean, I think obviously anytime we make changes to a character, some people are going to be sad with it, some people are going to be happy with it. I think overall, like, these changes are pretty cool. Yeah, Mark probably hopped in as admin and switched this to winter. So I need to not go insane now.
Jerk.
Yeah. Yeah, so
he's getting back at you for saying that you
probably no, he's totally not listening. Mark is definitely working 120% hot lava right now. I said 110%, and Mark was like, no, I can do 120. Yeah, the password is Bernie Beard. Oh, Bernie. No, it's not Bernie's beard, just Bernie Beard. It's not. Bernie doesn't have a beard. It's Bernie. Hey, there's a beard. It's just you can put.
It's the two things we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of the things. So, I mean, if you guys have thoughts on the changes to Willow, hop on the forums and kind of post about it, and definitely kind of add suggestions if you think, or if you have other ideas, because we definitely like to read those and see kind of.
We got some meat.
Oh, free meat. Thank you.
Cooked meat.
I'm gonna cook that on my lighter. Yeah. Because yeah, like definitely anytime we see good suggestions in the forum, I mean, all of that stuff feeds back into the design plans that we have. And like there was one good question that came up the other day about whether or not it was intentional that when something's smoldering and Willow goes and puts it out, she takes damage. So all characters take damage when they put out a smoldering bush or plant, I guess, or I guess item on the ground. But Willow then does her 50% damage reduction, so she can still, what was it? She can still put stuff out, but then she still takes a little bit of damage. And then, so it seems a bit weird that Willow would get burned right away by just putting out something that was smoldering. So maybe that's something we're going to investigate. But yeah, definitely if you guys have thoughts on it, hop on the forums and let us know, because it's definitely interesting to see different people's take on the game, because especially a lot of the cases our fans know so much about the game, and in cases they know more about the game than we do. Or definitely in times like we're too close to the game, we can't see the bigger picture sometimes.
Yeah, deving a game is a weird kind of beast. Like, you know all this stuff, but you also don't know all this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to get the other perspective at times. So like, that feedback is always valuable. I mean, we don't always action on every single item on there because we can't. It's impossible to do everything because people have conflicting opinions, and so we're never going to find the solution that works for 100% for everyone. Uh-oh, it's getting cold again. I'm going to run back to those trees and try.
Oh, you're in trouble.
I should be able to like hug Bernie to get some extra warmth. Like having Bernie in your inventory should give you like a little bit of an advantage. There we go. All right, I'm good for a little bit. Am I going to make it to 4:30? That is the question.
Well, you've already died once.
I've already died. Well, that didn't count because I was messing around. I wasn't playing properly, Matt.
Yeah.
There's a question about the fan art gallery on the website. I'm actually not aware of their fan art gallery. It's probably been there for a while. I'm going to have to go check that out.
That's a Jan and Corey and Joe question.
I'm sure Jan will probably pipe in with some questions about that. But yeah, if you guys have any other audio kind of questions, everyone found me. All right, my legion of followers. Look at all. Thank you. Who is that? It was Luxurious again. Awesome. If I'm ever without clothes, I'm just going to call up Luxurious and be like, hey, I need some new jeans. Can you just swing by?
Oh, somebody's asking when am I releasing the Beefalo song? When I'm not swamped by games, I have a plan. So, one day, hopefully. I have a great plan of involving the community to make the Beefalo song.
Sort of, I guess crowdsource audio samples? Because I've seen like...
I want a giant choir. In my head, the Beefalo song is sung by like a giant choir. So I need like lots of voices. So at some point I'm going to record solo Beefalo song and give it to everybody to like sing along to.
Nice.
And then send me, if everybody will send me back the files. I just need to get organized.
Right. So that was sort of like when they did Skyrim. They did like, they had an orchestra sing it. No, not an orchestra. Choir sing it.
Yeah.
Some of the songs. But then they only had like 10 people. But in the audio designer wanted like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And so he like copied them, duplicated them, did subtle adjustments so it's not the same voice overlapping each other. But yeah, if you can actually source 1,000 individual people with the power of like the community, that's super cool.
Yeah. So one day, hopefully soon, I will like, I'll get Jan and Corey and everybody to like the community to help me out, and we'll put it out to everybody to like, this is something you can be a part of, and we'll make the Beefalo song. And it'll annoy so many people.
I'm sure.
Somebody asked what programs I use to create audio for Don't Starve. I'm a Pro Tools guy for the most part, but when it comes down to if you're trying to get into doing game audio, the tools don't matter.
It's more the concepts, really.
It's use whatever you've got, whatever you have available, whatever you're comfortable with. Reaper is a great tool that's very cheap. Audacity is free.
Yeah, I've used Audacity for my own
projects. It used to be like the film and TV industry. It's like you had to use Pro Tools. Like that's what everybody used. Game audio is not like that. We're not trading stuff around as much as like I start a thing and give it to you and you finish a thing.
Yeah, that
it's
makes
like
sense.
We're just making sounds and like whatever you make the sounds with, it doesn't matter. They then go into the game, into the middleware. So don't worry about what tools you have. Just
right, like as long as you can export to like a WAV file or some common format, then you're good.
Then you're good.
It's pretty much the same with like game art as well. It's like you could use Paint if you really want. Save a bitmap, and then we'll put it through our pipelines and actually make a game format of it.
As long as you can output to whatever the format required is, then the tools are not a deal. So it's what you know more than anything. Like I know Pro Tools, so I'm comfortable with it.
I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna cook some carrots.
Somebody was spooked by the Night Hand. Yeah, I loved making sound for that thing. I have this music box.
The hand that comes in and like puts out your
it goes
fire
blink,
at night.
blink, blink,
Yeah,
blink,
that is a
blink,
pretty
blink.
awesome sound.
That was I have this music box that lets you make your own music for it.
Oh, so it's like programmable, or you're like
you got a sheet of stiff cardboard that gets fed through it.
Okay.
Thin, like,
it's
and
like
you punch out all the things.
Yeah.
You punch out all the holes. So I was able to like record I recorded a set of notes that were creepy and then randomized them, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I heard it and was like, this is creepy. I need to find a creepy spot for this to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny like sometimes when you make an asset and you're like, I don't know where this is going yet, but it's so good that I have to find a place for it.
Yeah.
And then eventually a good spot for it comes along and you're like, yes.
A lot of sound design is sort of like knowing that when you come across something, this is a cool thing, and then cataloging it in your mind or stuff. Like I have a whole closet full of just random junk.
Right.
That makes weird sounds. And you just kind of catalog it away and go, aha, okay, like someday I'm going to find whatever this is.
Right. So you have to have this like index library system in your head of just like, over here.
Yeah, in that milk crate, there's that weird toy I got one time that makes a squishy sound. That's what this should be.
What's the...
Somebody else asked. Oh, the Catcoon. Somebody was asking where the Catcoon sounds came from. I've done like the majority of the creatures in the game were my voice, and I'm starting to like reach the limits of that. So I've started employing other people in the office. So Kelly, wonderful artist who's been on the stream quite a few times, she is the Catcoon. And that was, I got her into the booth and just started going, okay, make a like meow.
That's pretty awesome. Oh, Tree Guard, come on. I bet Tree Guard couldn't take on Bernie. Let's go, Tree Guard, come on. I can't wait for the Bernie mods to start showing up. If people actually make like Bernie, like, and I guess add more like character and like sort of stuff to him. That'll be super entertaining. I had a question before and I totally lost it.
Yeah.
Got sidetracked by Tree Guard.
He'll do that to you.
Yeah, he does that. The faces in Tree Guard. Yep, that's pretty creepy. There's a park in Vancouver called Central Park. It's actually out in Burnaby, technically. Yep. And there's a giant eye spray painted on a tree.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like right in the center of the park where it's already, the park's a little sketchy. And when you're running on this one trail, this one trail is particularly quiet.
Yeah.
You're just running along.
And all of a sudden
you look over and you see an eye on the side of a tree. And you're like, ah, this shouldn't be there. What's going on?
Oh, somebody died.
I just let everyone die while I sat here talking about trees. All right. I've got an axe. Do I have a spear down here? I don't see my... Oh, I lost my spear from before. All right. Go on, take him out. Oh, God, that hurts. I don't think that's going to happen. What do I need? I need some grass.
Oh, the jumping sound. Somebody was asking about Chester and the jumping sounds.
The boing?
The boing, boing. I can't remember what the boing came from, but I saw Chester and was like, that's got a boing.
Yeah, definitely. The way it animates.
Yeah, it was just, that was one of those, you see the art and you know in your, just knew exactly in my head what that should sound like.
I think that one's actually really awesome in the games. Quite often you'll hear Chester before you see him.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what is that? And then you see it bouncing and you're like, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Oh, I need to find some grass soap soon. I'm going to burn. Maybe the server can come help me. It's almost nighttime too. Oh, there's a mole. Awesome. Actually, the question I was going to have, Matt, is actually about you were saying like you have all these things that you make sound effects from. In film, what is that called? There's a word for it.
Foley.
Foley. That's right.
The traditional sound, the traditional in movies, the like kind of like what's Foley. There's always a bit of a distinction. There's sound effects editors and there's Foley editors. And the difference is, if it's done with the hands, it's Foley. If it's done with the person, it's Foley. So hands, movement, footsteps, grabbing something, anything like that. Anything that you do as a person is Foley. If it's not, the sound effects editor is going to cut it. So if it's like car sounds or an explosion, or that's the sound effects guy.
But the sound of someone getting onto a horse and like grabbing the bridle, that would be Foley.
That'd be the Foley guy.
Right.
The sound of the horse would be the sound effects guy. So in games, we kind of like bridge all of that at once. We kind of do all of it, and and we have to make like in film, Foley guys like watch the movie and make all the sounds, make all the footsteps, make all the cloth movements as the actual action happens. We kind of have to approach it of like, they're moving a whole bunch. We have to just make these sounds that can be used for anything. So I create like big buckets of sounds that are like, here is all the sounds of this character moving.
Right.
You know, like now they've got the log armor on. I need Foley sounds for when they're clunking around with the log armor on. So that's like a whole bucket of sounds that are like, put log armor on, we play log armor Foley sounds.
Right. Okay.
Or grass armor. There's another set of Foley sounds for that. So like in Don't Starve, all the characters don't make Foley sounds normally, but when you put on items, the items make sounds because we want you to know. Yeah. Hey, you've got a thing on.
I mean, it serves the gameplay as far as feedback to the character.
Yeah.
To the player. Kind of an off-topic, not necessarily off-topic. This is an on-topic question. How did you get into game audio? Did you go to school for audio, or were you just sort of messing around with audio stuff enough that you sort of were self-taught?
Well, I went to recording school, recording engineering school.
Okay.
So I learned how to record music and bands and instruments and all that. And from there, like I was saying before, I went into QA, found somebody that was doing game audio.
Right. Yeah.
And at that time, like 12 years ago, there wasn't school for game audio. Now there is. Now that's what you would do. Back then there wasn't, so we would, all of us who were doing it, we had some sort of recording, mostly music backgrounds, some film backgrounds.
Do you find it's interesting interacting with, I guess, like a slightly newer generation who have come through those schools rather than going through the older sort of film or music stuff?
Yeah, it's interesting. They know way more from the get-go, and it's hard. I find it hard sometimes to give advice to people of how to break into the industry, because I've said it many times. The me that got into the industry 12 years ago would not get into the industry today. It was so different. So my experience of how did I do this isn't really relevant. Like the industry has changed so much.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That it's a very different thing to get into the industry now. Right, you can go to school strictly for game audio.
Right, because you don't necessarily need to know all the stuff that a music engineer, sound engineer would need to know.
And you can learn all these very specific things that you need to do this job that I had to learn as I went, figure it out and teach myself. So you can get somebody to tell you that. You can get together with your friends and make a game and be like, I'm an audio guy putting out a game.
Right.
When I started out, there was no real indie scene. It was all AAA. So,
to get started, you sort of had to get started on a large, like 100-person team, because that was really the only way about 10 years ago. Well, not the only way, but
the main way. The indie was very, very small. So it's great that nowadays there's these schools and there's all these options you can teach yourself. There's so many resources online to teach yourself stuff. And you can get the tools and play with them. You can get Wise and Fmod and download it and play with it and learn how to do it. We didn't have any of that before.
Even from like a programming perspective, it's very similar. Like there was modding scenes around in the late 90s, but it wasn't to the same. Like the internet has definitely helped the sort of proliferation of all that content get around. Yeah. And it's gotten so much better to the point where now it's like, like when I got into the industry, I made a game engine from scratch in C++ because that's how I had to learn how to do my job, because that's what I needed to do when I got a job. Yeah. Whereas now people can get really specific game experience, kind of either getting like a step in by like, all right, they're doing some mod stuff, and then maybe they make a total conversion mod with a couple other people, or then they maybe use some of the other free tools that are out there like Unity and Unreal or GameMaker or whatnot. Like the opportunities there for new people to get in are a lot. I guess the barrier to entry is a lot lower. Yeah. But at the same time, there's more competition because way more people are able to do that. Which
totally. And I always feel that like game audio we're probably the smallest area of all of the aspects of game making.
Yeah, probably. I'd say so.
We're here at Klei. We're 42-ish people.
And you have there's two sound. Well, maybe
there's 1.5 sound guys.
Yeah, because I guess there's you.
Yeah, and we have a part-time contractors.
And then Vince does a little bit of music, but
he's a half a composer. So if you remove composing, because composing really, it's awesome that we have Vince in-house and like here to write music for us all the time. But full-time composition jobs are really rare.
Yeah, because I mean, like in what studio do you have? Like at Capcom, we had a full-time composer because the projects were large enough that it merited that. But a team of 10 people is having a full-time composer probably doesn't make financial sense. Yeah, it's hard to justify. Yeah.
So when you're trying to break in, I found 1 to 40, 1 to 50 will be a sound guy.
Right.
Is a pretty however many of those are programmers. Like 20 of 50 will be programmers. So it is very competitive. If you want to do game audio, it is awesome. I think it's the best job there is, but you really have to want it. You're going to have to really work for it.
I think that's with basically all aspects of game development. I mean, like, because it's so competitive, you really have to show your passion. Yeah. Like with all the interviewing I've done in the past, I'm not necessarily looking for someone with the best grades. I'm looking for someone who kind of has, they have good grades and they've shown that they can actually do stuff on their own and actually be self-motivated to actually make something.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same in audio, but like in all parts of game development, a lot of it is just kind of perseverance of there's a problem, I need to struggle and find a way to solve this problem.
Problem solving is a huge thing. Somebody was asking specifically about the insanity noises. What are they? Well, I'm not going to say exactly what they are
because Matt will go to jail if he tells us.
I like to keep keep those. Basically, it was me finding all of the creepiest things I could. And combining them together into like more creepiness. That was basically like I was just searching and recording things and just going, what's creepy?
Yep.
Just anything, and then manipulating it to make it more creepy. So it was just, that was what was going through my head when I was making it. Like listening to things, go, is this creepy? Can I make this creepy? No? Okay, it's not that. Oh, this is pretty creepy. Okay, put that in the pile. So maybe I'll use that.
You talked about you have this like mental catalog of all that stuff you have at home. Do you have a box that's just creepy box? You open it in there's like dolls with their heads ripped off, and then you're like, whoa, there's some creepy stuff in here. There's a question that kind of, I guess, slightly more technical question about Fmod. Does the engine make use of any custom or user properties for Fmod events? I
don't think so. We use pretty stock stuff. The implementation side of Don't Starve was not complex. It's really basic, and I mean it's back on Fmod Designer. There's now Fmod Studio that's added a whole lot of stuff. I think the only really custom thing we added to it was a mixer, which Designer doesn't have a mixer, so you have to always write that. So we've got a series of mix snapshots for different things. And in the most complex way, we use a certain amount of processing whenever it's summer and winter to aid in the feel.
Yeah.
I do some overall processing to all the sounds.
Invisible Ink has that as well when you go into incognito mode, right?
That's a different thing.
That's different. Okay.
Yeah, that's a different sound ambience that goes on there. So when it goes to winter, there is a low pass filter on a selection of the categories of sounds.
Okay.
So that everything loses its high end because
it sort of
that kind of feeling of winter is when you're in
snow.
When you're in a snow-covered, quiet place, you lose a lot of the high end. So I'm kind of creating that with a filter on everything. And then in summer, I actually do the opposite, and we cut the low frequencies because summer is all about burny and sizzly and more.
That makes sense.
It's a weird, it's sort of reality, but kind of not at the same time. That I was just like thinking about it too hard. This is what evokes those things that I want to come out.
Oh no, I'm gonna die. I wasn't paying attention.
You don't have your torch anymore.
There's fireflies.
Fireflies.
I don't even have burning to protect me. Oh, ouch! I got hit. It's okay.
As corrosive subs, yeah. Summer has a band. It's not it's not a band pass. It's a high pass filter.
There's a question about Don't Starve and why, if it's a 2D game, why is it so resource intensive?
That's a question for you.
It's a question for me. It comes up from time to time. I'm actually just going to hop back and forth between the fireflies here. But the reason basically why Don't Starve as a 2D game is a little bit more expensive than kind of a traditional 2D game is the way it was written. I'm just going to freeze to death. But Don't Starve is like, I think probably like 80% of the code is Lua. And Lua is obviously a scripting language, and scripting languages are notorious for being not as fast as actual compiled machine code. So Don't Starve was written that way, and it kind of has a couple of reasons and benefits. One benefit of that is that the game is fully moddable because you can basically change whatever you want. Whereas like a game that's written in C++, if you want to mod it, we actually have to go and expose individual things to allow modders to mod it. Whereas, it's too bad. Terrorbeak got me. I didn't dance fast enough.
I don't know, it was a Terrorbeak. You didn't even freeze to death or die by Charlie.
Oh, I just went insane? What?
That's what I saw. It said Terrorbeak got you, so it was, you were doomed.
I guess I was doomed. That was that was not going well. But yeah, so I mean, like Lua obviously is going to be slower than a compiled language. So 2D games there's a Binding of Isaac icon on the chat right now. So I believe that, actually no, maybe it was Game Maker. No, I'm not sure. But anyways, because Lua is a scripting language, it's it's going to be slower than like actual C code that's been compiled for the machine. 2D actually, it's a funny thing about 2D compared to 3D, especially with animation. Historically, 2D animation was actually done with like flipbooks, where each frame, each pose would be a separate image, and that was like crazy expensive for memory costs. The guys who actually originally created Don't Starve, and I think they actually did this work on Chink, it was actually having individual frames of anime. It's sort of like a weird 3D animation, but with 2D assets. So like the head isn't a head that's actually being redrawn every time it moves. It's actually the same texture, but then it's just being translated and offset and rotated and scaled. And so there's actually like bones that actually move around to actually position where the hands and the individual kind of pieces of the player move, rather than a whole separate frame for every single different pose. So that part actually does save a ton of memory. But that said, Lua itself was going to use a bunch of memory. But Lua also makes it so that designers can actually program it themselves. Like Lua is quite a simple language to learn. There's really barely any concepts in it that you need to learn. Like I hadn't used Lua before I came to Klei, and like a week later I was like, oh, I'm writing Lua, it's fine. Like it's nothing. It's a fairly basic language.
I'm an audio guy, and I'm not scared of Lua.
Exactly. That's a perfect testament. Like the Lua is super easy to learn. So that benefit allows designers who don't necessarily have a really rigorous programming background to actually be able to work. Oh, you want to play? I got distracted by talking.
Yep.
It basically allows designers to make the game the way they want without having to interface with a programmer and go back and forth, or programmers having to make specific tools. The designer can just go into Lua and code it the way they want it. It's a little bit more technical than kind of traditional game design tools. There we go. The lighter. Let's burn some trees, Matt. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things about Lua, is that basically you can design with the code because it's so simple and fast to iterate on. As Syndic says, I blame Kevin. Yep. When in doubt, blame Kevin for all of the horrible decisions. So that's kind of, I mean, we're coming to the end of the stream now. Does anyone who want to see our skin reveal that we sort of revealed before when I fumbled the controls?
The re-reveal?
The re-reveal.
The true reveal. Oh.
Actually, I want to see what happens to this pig man. Is he going to burn to death in there?
He's not happy.
Why is he? Get out of the forest.
Why are you staying there?
He got smart and stopped running into the fire. All right, so let's take a look.
All right, here we go.
Ta-da! I'm gonna shut down the game. We don't need burning game audio. Yeah, so we've got Wolfman Woody. That's pretty awesome. I'm super pumped for it because
he looks awesome.
Woody's super cool. I hadn't actually seen this one before today, and so when Jan came over and showed me and got it set up, I was like, oh, yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I like Woody. And I like too that when we made Woody, I was like, well, his axe talks. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, his axe needs a voice then.
Yeah. Yeah. So as Jan pointed out in the chat there, this is a skin concept. I mean, like, these aren't things to be fully developed. It's things we're playing with visually to see, like, is this going to work? Is this going to fit in with the rest of the plans for skins and how that would work?
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, most of the concepts we've shown have been really cool. So
I can't playing The Wolf Among Us. That, or is it Teen Wolf?
Yeah, so, I mean, we're a little bit older than some of our audience, so this strikes me as Teen Wolf for sure.
Yeah.
But Wolf Among Us was pretty cool, too. I actually have a couple episodes I need to get through.
I'm as well. I haven't finished it either.
Yeah, so no spoilers. The wolf did it. I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah, that's Wolfman Woody. Thanks, everyone, for dropping by today. If you have any audio questions or if you have any thoughts on Willow and the changes that have gone into Willow, feel free to drop by our forums. Let us know. Kind of start a discussion on there. There's a couple other things, dates as far as things go. So I mentioned before that the sort of the floodgates are open now. So everyone who had previously owned Don't Starve on Steam now has Don't Starve Together in their library. So they should just go and check that out if they haven't. I assume kind of everyone that's on the watching, probably, maybe not. Maybe some people didn't know, but hopefully they now know.
Yep.
The Wii U single player Don't Starve. We launched that today in Europe as well. So if you live in Europe and you have a Wii U, and you want to play it on your couch with the map like on your controller,
it's pretty awesome.
Or if you just want to walk away from your TV and go to the bathroom and still play Don't Starve, I think it can switch down.
Yeah, you can play it just on the
controller.
Bathroom mode.
Bathroom mode, yeah, exactly. Or I mean,
couch mode.
Lay it down. You can go have a bath and play Don't Starve. Why not? It sounds awesome. And another thing, so if any users who got the game on GOG, if they're having any trouble not finding the game on Steam, send us an email and we can kind of sort that out, because there was some sort of confusion.
We got your back.
Yeah, exactly. There was some confusion about how the Steam key Don't Starve Together key giveaway works with GOG keys. Yeah, so...
Personal plug, if anybody is more interested in game audio, I have a podcast that comes out once a month called Beards, Cats, and Indie Game Audio. Have a search for that.
Beards,
it's on
Cats, and Indie Game Audio. Okay.
It's got all the things you want.
Is it a live stream, or can you watch or listen to like past episodes as well?
Yep, it's in iTunes.
Okay, cool.
Me and another local guy have been doing it for about a year and a half.
Sweet.
So, go have a listen if you're interested in game audio stuff.
I might have to go check that out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn so much about it. Maybe I might just forget this graphics thing.
Make the jump.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for dropping by, and have a great day. It wouldn't be a stream without the gobble.